this is Greenberry.
And I'm Kirsten.
And we are Adult Buddy Finders, the podcast.
Yes, we are. We're going to find you a buddy.
Yes.
Who's an adult.
Yes.
Because this stuff is not for kids.
This is not for children anymore. Because we're in season 2.
Yes.
And if you're coming back, thank you so much for coming back. If you're listening for the first time, we're talking about adult content. We're talking about that kind of buddy.
Oh, yeah. The wink wink type.
Yes. Yes. In today's episode, we are going to talk about...
Oh, today we have a unicorn.
Unicorn.
Now, if you don't know what that is, that's basically usually a female. I believe a male can also be a unicorn.
We're going to learn a lot today
we really
ourselves,
are.
but
Yeah.
here's what we know.
So this normally female
Okay.
is going to join a couple for sexual relations.
Yes. Not in front of us,
Oh,
but that's what a unicorn does.
I mean,
Is going
that's
sounds
what I
like
signed
it's
up for.
present. No promises on any sexual relations ever. There's never a promise.
yeah, I'm very excited to learn more. I have a lot of questions for her.
Yes. So, do you know anything? Like, have you ever encountered a unicorn besides...
I have not,
Okay.
but I met this guy and was very, very attracted to him.
Okay.
And we hung out a few times. I actually went up to San Francisco to see him, and he said, I have something I need to tell you.
Okay.
I am dating this woman, and we would love if like you're part of the relationship. I would be dating him, not her.
Oh.
It was an open relationship.
Throuple.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I don't even think throuple.
Yeah, because you're not with her at all.
I think it's more polyamorous.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would be dating him, and he would be dating her, and she was more of his main thing. Anyway, I sat and thought about it for a long time, and I decided, that's not my thing.
So you're not a unicorn.
I'm not.
So the unicorn is, as we kind of talked about, it's a bisexual woman typically, or at least the one, maybe she'll tell us that there's like a male term, or if it is also man unicorn, or just unicorn that happens to be a guy, identifies as well. So for this specific unicorn, female, bisexual, going into a heterosexual, relatively committed relationship for like an encounter, like not long term.
Yeah. From what I understand, that it's just a sexual thing that's short term.
A fling,
Oh.
a one night or many nights. It can happen a couple nights.
Yeah.
Like anything.
It's kind of your way to
repeat.
have a three-way, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But what's great is that what makes it unicornish is that everyone's having fun.
Oh. it's a bore if it's not
Sometimes
fun.
Somebody's getting a lot more attention. Like this time, it should be very balanced.
It's balanced.
We're gonna find out how balanced that
Unless
is.
you have a bore, then I'm a bore. I just come in and break couples up.
You're talking about like an actual boar, like an animal.
No, not BORE, whatever.
Not how you spell it one way, the other way of spelling it.
The type that's the meat, the boar heads.
Boar. It's just ham.
Yeah.
Don't invite ham into who. Actually, I bet we could find somebody like a food. That's a topic to think about. Food.
Oh yeah. If
Food
you have
and
a
sex.
food fetish, please go to our Facebook page. Let us know. We want to learn more.
Yes.
We'd love to hear all about it.
We want to know everything you want to know because we probably don't know anything about it.
Not yet.
We're trying to learn. Really, mostly is our role right now.
Yeah. So have you ever had a unicorn?
And even though I am in a marriage, I've never had a unicorn.
Yeah, never.
I don't think I have the confidence for it. I feel like I would be like so like why actually weird. This is probably gonna get cut, but because it's so boring to talk about dreams. But I did have a dream that he was going on vacation with a woman, and at first I was like, yeah, that makes sense, and I was like, that does not make sense. I do not like it. I would not like him going on vacation with another woman, so I don't think I'd like him.
That is actually interesting. I like that.
Okay,
Thanks for sharing.
Thanks for sharing. It was you. It was you. It was Brigida, if you're watching. If you're listening.
Yeah, he's not coming back.
I know. That's why I can't have a unicorn, because he'd ride off into the sunset with the unicorn. That's my fear. Especially this one, Natasha Liu. She's so funny. She's so cute and sweet. And I hope she doesn't mind being called cute, because some people hate being called cute, but I'll take any compliment that's given me. I'll cut it out if she hates it. But
She's cute. I think cute can come back.
we're bringing cute back. So Natasha Liu is our unicorn today. That's who we're talking to. Why don't we talk to her now?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Hanging around with you.
Welcome to episode 3 of Adult Buddy Finders, and we are so excited because we have with us Natasha Liu, who is a lot of things. Of course, we're going to be talking to her about being a unicorn, but Natasha, tell us about yourself. What are you up to?
So I am an actor, and I'm also an executive recruiting coordinator at an ad agency, and yeah, just up to, I don't even know what I'm up to anymore. Just like too many things and also nothing at the same time.
I know you as a hilarious improviser and sketch performer.
Yeah, and I'm still doing improv.
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
Nice.
Because we're coming, especially in Los Angeles, we had a long quarantine. So where, if that's okay to answer, where are you performing lately?
The Clubhouse,
Oh,
and we
cool.
also have done Zoom shows.
Yes.
But the Zoom shows aren't very fun because of like technical difficulties and yeah.
Depending on if the audience is like muted or not, where that's like radio silence, or if they aren't muted and they're like, come on, turn off the TV, you know, stuff. All sorts of crazy stuff happens on those Zoom shows.
Or your friends text you because you're trying to do a YouTube live stream improv show, and they're like, oh, it's lagging like really bad. Can you do anything about it? And you just can't.
Yeah.
And then you just do this like an hour-long show.
Oh my gosh. For your
like,
teammates.
Yeah, for each other.
So comedy is fun and very rewarding. We do it for the fame and for the Zoom likes.
And for the money, definitely. No.
The money that we pay out.
Oh my
It's
god.
just like throwaway money.
Yes.
Just keep spending like money on $400 improv classes over and over and over again.
Great investment, really. So Natasha, you actually told me what unicorn means. I had never heard that term before I met Natasha, and you're just kind of a very, I would say quiet, reserved personality. So to me, like, I was like, oh, I wouldn't even know what this would mean and how you would get into it. And so
It's always the quiet ones that you have to be careful with.
That are the unicorns.
that are the unicorns, and that's where you find your unicorn. Look for the quiet ones.
Yes. So wait, first of all, what is a unicorn?
Yes.
A bisexual person that plays with couples.
And it can be one male or female.
Yeah, male, female, non-binary. And yeah, they're called unicorns because they're so freaking rare. Yeah.
So, and you're always with a straight couple. Is that part of like the unicorn terminology umbrella? Is that right? Because we were trying to define it, and then I'm realizing like, oh, maybe I don't have it right, because we were like, maybe it's different if you're a different gender.
Yeah, gay couples could have unicorns too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually don't know if for a gay couple if it would be called a unicorn, but I'd assume so.
Yeah, I wonder if that's more rare or less rare. Or
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. Okay. So you're a unicorn because you're bisexual and you're happy to join in a threesome.
Yeah.
And how did you find this out?
Oh my god. The story starts, I was 19.
Okay.
And I was living at the Clarinet House near USC.
Okay.
And the Clarinet House is this house where like a bunch of classical musicians, clarinetists live. And
Oh, that's adorable.
It literally is the clarinet house. Okay.
That's so
Yeah.
cute. And you play the clarinet as well.
I don't play the
Oh,
clarinet.
I
My
thought you
best friend plays the clarinet, so that's how I ended up there. I just
Oh.
needed a place to stay. So they were having this like classical musician clarinet party kickback thing.
Classic band camp.
So a lot of sex.
And someone at the party, for some reason, I gave her my phone, and she was like, "Can I just swipe through your Tinder and just give people a random address just to see what would happen?" So she just like swiped right on like everyone.
Oh.
For some reason, it just like threw in a random address near UCLA.
Okay.
And I don't know why I was okay with this. I was 19 and just kind of like, oh yeah, do whatever you want.
Were you under the influence of anything, or you're just like having fun?
I was probably really tipsy.
Okay.
And then the next morning, I like checked if anyone actually went to the address, and actually a woman responded. This like beautiful woman, and
wow.
I was like, whoa, like I actually want to get to know this person. I like her
Interesting.
profile. She seems like really cool. We have similar interests. She's active, and so yeah. Then we actually met up at Pine and Crane in Silver Lake.
Okay.
And she said that she had a boyfriend, or has a boyfriend, and they were looking for a unicorn. So that's how it like magically happened.
Very magical.
Pun intended.
So wait, she basically went on Tinder to look for another woman, and then revealed that she was looking for a
That's kind
unicorn.
of an interesting sly way to do
Right?
it.
It was a little
Yeah.
catfish here.
A little.
Yeah, because I was under the impression that she was looking for women to date, but she said that her boyfriend is okay with her dating women in addition to dating him.
Okay.
Dating like an open relationship.
Yeah. I know that.
They're in something called the lifestyle, so they swing and they go to play parties, and they really opened the door for me.
Oh, interesting.
Wow.
So you met her, and you also ended up liking her partner as well. You were like, okay.
Yeah. So first date, I met her, and we ended up doing a phone call with her partner in her car after the date.
Okay.
And then the second date, I did dinner with her and her partner, and then we fucked. Or actually, we went to a sex store and then fucked afterwards.
So did you hook up with her, or you hooked up with both of them at the same time?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wild.
Yeah.
Was it a lot going on for the first time? You know, how did you handle everything? Was it just like second nature?
My first sexual experience was actually a threesome. So.
Really?
Wow.
So it's like you're literally made for this.
Yeah.
Was the threesome guy girl, or was the threesome how was
Guy
yours?
girl.
Okay.
Yeah. I snuck out of my house to hang out with a friend, and we decided to go to another friend's place, and then we just took turns blowing and making out with him. I was like 14 years old, and I was like, oh, this is what blowjobs are, I guess.
It's an activity that all your friends can partake in.
No equipment needed.
One of the things I would think about is like the jealousy like aspect. Like,
Yeah.
you know, we kind of talked about that. Couldn't we, as far as like allowing that in our own relationship?
Yeah, did you sit down and have a conversation or before, like with him and her, and have this whole conversation of boundaries and emotional boundaries, or did you just dive in?
So I think they were, to this day, they're the best couple I've ever played with. They're extremely communicative.
Oh, cool.
They had, I don't know, they were very honest, and they told me, we don't want you to feel like an accessory. We want you to, before anything else, be our friend.
Okay.
And not just be a sex object.
Okay.
And I have felt like a sex object to other couples before. And to this day, we're still friends, which I'm really happy about. And they're still, they're still together. So
Oh, that's good.
I just like that they just like laid everything out. And
Oh, that's important, especially for your first time doing it.
Yeah.
It's good to have like the first person or people be so clear.
Yeah.
What were some of the boundaries that you think made that a positive experience?
So they communicated that they're not polyamorous.
Okay.
So they play with other couples and they play with unicorns, but there's no, in their like other partners, there's no like nothing deeper.
Yeah. That's
so it's just
important.
sex.
Yeah. So that if you were thinking like you're gonna get into a throuple, that you're wanting it to go to the next level, that's a great thing to know ahead of time.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
They also revealed that they don't take one for the team. They said that they were hooking up, or they were going to possibly hook up with another couple when they were traveling, but the man looked like the Monopoly man, but the woman was really hot. So like that's one of their rules.
Oh, so take one for the team. You mean like we're not gonna subject ourselves to a couple if we're not attracted to both of them?
Yeah. And another rule they had was we don't want to play with people that are clearly.
I thought it was an earthquake.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. I think on the headphones.
It
I don't know
was,
if you
it
heard
was
it. Okay.
It's like a military plane, but it's.
Oh gosh, I was like, oh wow.
Okay, well, it went over us, so if it does crash, it's not gonna get us.
We'll get back on top. We'll get back to that. So we were talking about
boundaries.
Okay.
They don't, yeah, one other boundary that they had was they don't want to play with couples that don't seem stable in their relationship, because they had been in a situation before where the girlfriend seemed like she was just doing it to make the boyfriend happy, and it just made it really awkward.
Yeah.
So
That's another thing I wondered if you've ever experienced, where it was kind of like, because that's of course like the thought of a person who has never experienced a threesome is like, is it like a jealous? Is it like they like me better? They're giving me more attention? Is there like sometimes like a show like of affection, or they want like to feel like they're the star? Or do you see that ever?
I did see that in the second couple I was a unicorn for.
Yeah.
It was actually, the wife tried really, really hard to make it work. It was evident that the husband was the one that wanted to do threesomes, and she was really, really uncomfortable.
Oh.
Yeah, so.
So in that situation, do you just kind of like, you realize it after the fact, or is it kind of like, have you ever had to be in the situation where you're like, I don't know, it's not gonna work?
In that particular situation, she stopped the threesome immediately. And then she apologized. She was like, oh, I'm so sorry, I was a party pooper, but like she was going through really intense emotions.
Sure.
And, I empathize with that.
That's
it's
great.
a lot to see your partner fuck someone else, and
Yeah.
you're not in a stable, loving relationship.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And if that's something you're not into, even if you do support them and love them, if you're not into it, then it's just not gonna feel good.
Yeah, especially if you signed up for a monogamous marriage and then your partner all of a sudden springs one on you and says, I want to have threesomes. And
Right.
Mm-hmm.
then, and then you try to do threesomes or even foursomes to try to make the relationship work, and then it's just not working, and then your husband gets angry about it, and then
So like if you're out there listening and you're in a partnership right now and you're thinking like, oh, I do want to do this, you definitely have to make sure that if you want it to go well.
Yeah, have that conversation, make sure you're both on the same page and you're both actually okay with it, and you're not just taking one for the team.
yeah, and like I feel like
Literally.
setting appropriate rules and boundaries. Read The Ethical Slut. That's a really great book.
Oh,
to
okay, I've never
expose
heard
you
of
to
this.
the world of polyamory and open relationships.
Okay. Ethical
Nice.
slut.
Yeah.
Gonna write that down.
So you've expressed the couple that you really enjoyed and what they did that was nice. What about the couples that didn't work out? What were some things that made it not a great experience?
There was a couple that I dated them and a friend dated them, and I don't want to say the situation was kind of predatory, but the woman in the couple owns a lingerie company, and the people that they were playing with were models for
Okay.
the lingerie company.
Okay, that seems a little bit like
That's
a boundary cross.
little-
Yeah.
I mean, people have free will, and
Sure.
they didn't like put a gun to the model's head, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know.
That's kind of the don't date the boss type of thing.
A
Although
little
I
bit.
did, and I married him.
That's
right. But they do say don't shit where you eat and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And also like there is the idea of how much is like your own free will and how much is it like this is my boss and I'm kind of open to it. I think I'm, and you feel like you want to like, especially like with modeling, I would imagine that your job prospects are kind of limited and you don't want to be burnt, so there is probably some of that that's kind of a little.
Yeah.
And then
I'm sorry, to rewind on that,
You said dated. Was that then still a unicorn relationship, or was it a polyamorous relationship?
So I was under the impression that they were polyamorous, and I still think they are. They were in a throuple with my friend. So they were looking to be in a throuple situation.
Okay.
And to my friend, they said stuff like, oh, you complete us, we need you for this relationship to work. I ended up dating the guy.
Oh.
And just the lack of communication, the omission of information, the whole situation was so chaotic. To this day, it still gives me anxiety.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it does not sound like a great situation for anyone in that throuple, quadruple.
And to top it off, I was 21 when I slept with them for the first time, and he didn't use protection, and I didn't feel like we were on ecstasy too.
Okay.
And I felt like I couldn't speak up. I felt like, okay, I agreed to this, so I'm just gonna keep going. But it makes me angry that she didn't advocate for my safety.
Right.
Yeah.
And like these people are like at the time like late 30s, early 40s. I was literally 21.
Yeah.
So that's something that still upsets me.
Right. And is that something that happened kind of earlier in the unicorn like experience for you?
They were actually the third couple that I was a unicorn for, and arguably the worst couple.
But is it anything that you could like? Obviously there's things that I'm hearing, and if I were like, oh, I'm interested in doing this, like I would want to like potentially be like, okay, can we make sure that there's condoms? Or like is that something? Is it anything that you took to the next experience in a positive way?
Yeah. So. Communicating,
Yeah.
we need to use protection
Yeah.
beforehand. And then adding to that, if you're having a threesome or even a foursome, you need to switch condoms between partners.
Oh,
and even use
see.
condoms on dildos.
I never even thought about that. That's true, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It is one of those like, oh, duh.
Of course. When you break it down, it makes sense.
Yeah.
In my mind, I was like, no, it's still the same sex.
Because if you stick it in Alicia and stick it in Sabrina afterwards, you're transferring Alicia's juices to Sabrina. And
Right.
Oh yeah.
So what about some of the experiences that were positive? Like what was do you mind to go into that room and kind of tell us what that was like? Like is it equal? Do you share the love of I'm gonna be with her and I'm gonna be with him, and how does that go if you're
Yeah, so when I was playing with the first couple that I ever played with, they made sure that everyone got equal attention, and they really, really wanted to make me feel welcomed and not like I was just a plaything.
Yeah. How do you go about making everybody feel equal and everybody's getting playtime?
We do stuff together as a group.
Yeah.
So it's maybe I'm making out with him and she's blowing him, and then we work on him together.
Oh, cool.
And then maybe there's a period of time that he's working on her, but then he'll come back to me, and it won't turn into a situation where it's oh, I'm just watching a couple have sex now and I'm gonna
It's really being aware of who's just sitting there watching, basically.
watching the room, reading the room.
read the room.
Go ahead.
Oh, I interrupted. You were going into the what the experience is like, and I was just curious of that sharing. So I don't know if you have more to say on
It was really eye-opening for me because I was 19 and I had never seen someone use anal beads before.
I love that you're using just the finger and a little pointy finger to remember.
And then I feel like I learned a lot.
It sounds like they played with toys.
Yeah, lots of toys. There was she needed the Hitachi magic wand to get off, and then she squirted at the end, and I was just amazed. And then they do this thing afterwards where everyone high fives each other because
And like, why do they do that? Because it's so hard to make either of them orgasm. So they,
wow.
Yeah.
So that's part of the whole thing too.
yeah. And I felt like he also made me feel really welcome because, like, I also have a real hard time orgasming. So he asked, "How do you masturbate?" And he played with me like in a way that like made sense to me and
Yeah.
felt good.
Oh,
and, like, yeah, they
great.
asked a lot of like really good questions.
Nice.
Yeah, I like that question of how do you masturbate to figure out how to actually get you off, because when you're masturbating, you know how you can get off.
You just assume other people know too.
Yeah.
Have you been in any kind of relationship where like the unicorn life has conflicted or like been a part of it? Like you mentioned that you were in the, I don't know how it ended up turning out. It was a throuple, and then I don't know how when it gets beyond that what the terminology is when you were dating a man.
I think they're called the confusing couple.
Yeah, the confusing couple.
So you mentioned being in that relationship, but have you been in other relationships that was like, oh yeah, I'm also a unicorn and this is happening. Are you cool with it? Like, has anything like that happened?
I was in an open relationship.
Okay.
And yeah, we had to create a lot of rules and set boundaries, but ultimately he learned a lot about himself, and he realized like he didn't want to be in an open relationship. And
Yeah.
the relationship ended up not working out, and we did play with a couple in Mexico. That was a very traumatic experience.
Oh no!
But yeah, wait, sorry, what was the question
Yeah,
again?
basically what you're going into
Yeah.
is I was curious like how that works whenever you decide to partner with somebody instead of this one relationship that you talked about where she kind of bait and switched you and she's like and then it kind of evolved naturally, and then the other one where it kind of seems like you were just working with the people that you were unicorning with. I'm curious about like your own personal side, and that's great information of like that you had your open relationship, that you also played with couples, and how that worked out.
Yeah, so I would let him know, hey, I'm gonna go on a date with so-and-so, and we're definitely gonna have sex afterwards.
Yeah.
I would just be very transparent with him, and we would talk about it before and afterwards. And he initially said, oh, I'm 100% okay with you doing that, as
Right.
long as you're not canceling our plans to hang out with someone else or just like ditching me.
Yeah.
I love this too. It sounds like that you were communicating and sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second. It's back now. So I really love that he, in this relationship with you, he realized that this wasn't for him.
Right.
An open relationship wasn't his thing, and you realized with this first couple that that is your thing. And that is something. So it is kind of taking a moment and realizing what works for you, kind of being open to it and seeing what you want and what's good for you.
I think it's super important, especially like talking about different couples, and the couple that both wanted it, both were very open about it, communicated properly. That's the most successful that you've experienced so far.
Mm-hmm.
And then other people that are like,
Confusing couples.
yeah, that it's something isn't working with between them, or somebody's like, oh, by the way, this is a thing that like I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want you to not know, and now I'm telling you, and now we're married, and now you have to deal with it, or they have different ones. Like if you were to try to make that relationship work, where he's like, I don't want this, and you're like, I absolutely do, it wouldn't be great.
Yeah, with the two toxic couples, the throuple couple, they were open to polyamory, but I feel like the problem was the man, he would just omit information and just not be completely honest about stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's another situation. Like
Yeah.
she was open to it.
Yeah.
She was open to the threesomes and orgies and just playing with other people, but
Right.
just like his lies.
Yeah, he like wanted to
fucking ruined
manipulate the
everything.
situation that was already like, we
Fine.
can do anything. You just
Yeah.
have to talk about it.
Yeah.
And he also wasn't kind to her. They were in a throuple situation where he took $7,000 out of their investment account, and she was really upset about that, to
Yeah.
pay for this like luxury hotel stay, and
Oh,
like
geez.
he was buying the other woman like gifts and showering her with a lot of attention, and they were gossiping about her and calling
Oh,
her a
geez.
workaholic and just not being really nice. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's not cool.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He really didn't respect her feelings or their shared investment account.
Right. So like in any relationship, no matter how many partners you have, if you have one toxic person, it's gonna tank.
Yeah, I agree.
Takes one bad person to ruin the whole thing.
So now, as a unicorn, do you go out and find couples? And if you do, how do you do
Oh
that?
yeah, when you're not being bait and switch. How do people find you too?
So I'm not actively searching right now because after dating the man and this is like really fresh, like I just feel like kind of traumatized right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I were to go out and search, there's websites like FetLife and on OkCupid and Tinder, I often see couples, but I feel like in my personal experiences, it's always just happened to me instead of me actively seeking it.
That's
Yeah.
funny, especially like how you talked about like your first sexual experience was a threesome. Then the first time you meet someone on an app, that ends up in being your first unicorn experience. So it's like this is like going to be part of your life.
Yeah, it just like follows me for some reason.
Yeah.
The second couple, I actually met them through improv.
Of course.
And they just like the husband slid into my DMs and just
Okay.
like asked.
Those DMs.
But they did not yes and.
Well, he yesed and she knowed.
But
For real.
she's not much of an improviser.
And then the third couple, I got into it because I was friends with him, or I was friends with them before the threesomes happened. And this is probably, so they were talking about how much they hated their unicorn,
Oh.
and I just thought, I can help you fix that. I don't know, like I was young, I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, let me
great
mitigate
unicorn.
this situation.
You need help? I'm here.
Yeah.
It's on the way.
I love that people have multiple unicorns and
Yeah.
unicorn is rare. Like, how are these people finding all these
So
unicorns?
many.
I guess like Instagram and like if you own a lingerie company, just go after your models.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That helps. We do have people that ask questions, and then certain people will have them call in to the show and ask questions. So we'll have Mike on the phone with you shortly.
Awesome. Oh, and I the thing I said before, like go after your models if you own a lingerie company. I meant that sarcastically. Please don't actually do that.
Yeah.
Nobody take that
Good
seriously.
clarification for
Please.
sure.
Don't go after
here,
your
here.
assistants or.
This is non-sarcastically. Do not go after your models.
Yeah. Or any other employees, probably.
Yeah.
Hanging around with you.
Hello, Mix It Up Mike. This is Kirsten with Adult Buddies Finders,
Hi, Mike.
and we are here with Natasha.
Hey, Natasha, how are you tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you for asking. Just winding down, you know?
Yeah, so I hear you have a question for us.
Yes, if you don't mind, I would like to stay anonymous.
Oh, okay.
As you imagine, Mix It Up Mike is not my real name.
Thanks for letting us know.
You know, I want to make that very clear. And so, a long story short, my story goes, you know, I worked long hours at the law firm, and you know, my wife and I haven't been doing so well in the relationship department. And I was wondering what we could do to spice it up. And I hear you do some magical things, if you know what I mean.
Well put. So, sorry, was there a question in there?
Yes, I would. To be blunt, I would like to. I was wondering if you would join my lady and I in the set. You know what I mean?
Well, you should work out whatever problems you have with your wife before inviting a third sexual partner into the relationship. And, like, first of all, like, do you even know if your wife is comfortable with another sexual partner?
Oh, yes, she's very comfortable. We've tried a lot of different things. Actually, it's part of the reason why I kind of scared to do anything sexual with her, because one time she tried to peg me during Bridgerton, and not a show that I normally watch, and it kind of scared me.
Wait, did you say she tried to peg you during Bridgerton?
She tried to peg me during Bridgerton. It's a program on the Hulu.
Oh yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
we all know it.
Yeah, I'm curious what titillated her there, but
I haven't seen it, but now I want to.
I didn't even know what that meant, so she tried to do it to me.
Okay, I'm sorry that you went through that because
Yeah.
I feel like as someone who has pegged people before, you need to start like really slowly, like with a finger or like with a very like small butt plug before you just like get a full-on dildo and.
oh,
try
was
to
it a
peg
full-on
someone.
dildo, Mike?
I'd rather not discuss
Okay.
details.
Okay, that's fair.
Let's just say it didn't end well.
Oh,
And
geez.
I had to call out sick next day.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, what would a unicorn horn feel like? Can you walk me through that?
You know she's not a literal unicorn.
Oh, I was under the impression that you were a unicorn.
Was the unicorn suggested by your wife?
I mean, she hinted at all these magical things and creatures. One time she dressed up as a tree creature, a giant, and one time, she tried to do the whole Elsa thing, and none of it worked. And I just wanted to know if you can help me spice things up, if you know what I mean.
Well, it sounds very spicy in there to me. But it sounds kind of like you're a little afraid of. Your wife kind of seems to be kind of a sexual aggressor. Like she's not afraid to go after what she wants.
Yeah, I'm all about women empowerment, and I think the pegging was a little bit too far. What do you think?
Well,
I think the pegging was a red flag. I mean, I personally, like, no offense to your wife, but I don't want to play with you all just because of the lack of communication and boundaries that you talked about. Yeah, she didn't talk about the pegging beforehand, and she just, like, out of the blue tried to peg you. That's not cool.
There are now boundaries. I tell her not to do it anymore.
yeah, that's a fair response, and especially if you felt surprised and it sounds like even a little hurt because you had needed some downtime. And it also sounds like it's kind of carrying in. You mentioned that you were afraid to have sex with her because of this experience. So that's.
So would you like to join us? Is that possible? Some nights?
No, thank you.
Tuesdays, on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, sometimes Thursdays.
No, thank you.
The kids up to soccer and
So I think that you're gonna have to first have a conversation with your wife.
Sounds like some mending needs to happen.
Yeah, have a really thorough conversation with your wife about what she wants and what you want, and be really super clear on that. And then maybe slowly work your way up to the pegging with maybe just a finger.
Yeah. And the unicorn play, I think y'all can do that with the. I keep wanting to call it cosplay, but there's something else where you get to you could dress up as a role play. You could dress up as a unicorn if you think that would excite her with her fantasy.
Yeah, it sounds like maybe you're
desires.
leaning into more of the fantasy world than the.
I have to be very honest with you. When you said unicorn, I was like, oh, unicorn. That might save my marriage.
Are you into fantasies?
Tell me yours. Miss Unicorn.
Well, I think for our guest here today, they're not comfortable in joining your relationship, but it does sound like if you and your wife communicate and you get more on the same page, based on this unicorn's experience, that's been her most favorite. So once you get that sorted out, you'll probably be able to. And it will be a human, so you got to make sure you want the human.
Hold on, I'm writing the notes down.
Okay.
First. Human.
Yes. So, talk to your wife and let her know that, you were a little surprised by that. It sounds like eventually was consensual in some way, even though you seem a little, the initial interaction was definitely unplanned.
Yeah, it was a bit of a surprise.
Another word of advice. I don't think it's.
She tried, we tried to spice things up, and, it didn't work out.
Yeah, I think
Took some more.
Natasha has another tip for you.
Yeah, another word of advice. I don't think it's wise to just ask someone to be a unicorn out of the blue. Like, I personally, as a unicorn, am way more comfortable if we have a conversation beforehand and see if we're even compatible and attracted to each other. So, like, a dinner beforehand with no expectation that sex will happen later, because...
Like a normal date.
Yeah, like a normal date. And then, like, if you're compatible, then great, let's go play later. But if not, then, like, I'm free to go. Like,
Yeah,
you know.
that checks out.
Yeah, I like that.
Not everyone's compatible.
So take some.
So is this the right time to ask you for dinner?
You're a sly one. You're a sly one.
Yes. You're very persistent.
Some days.
Go fix things with your wife first.
First conversations, then dinner.
How do I approach this fear that I have then now?
Yeah, I would definitely tell your wife. I mean, because it sounds like she's open and having fun and probably thought you were having fun too. So, she probably doesn't know that there's any issue. So if you could let her know, like, hey, this is what made me afraid. Here's what I liked about it. Here's what I want to try next. And, especially if you're looking to take next steps with adding even a third person into the mix, then that's going to be really helpful for both of you. But I think there's no harm. I'd certainly want to know if I scared my partner.
Yeah,
I didn't mean to be too graphic. I hope you're not offended.
No.
No, you're all adults in the room.
Yes.
This is anonymous, right? I just want to make sure this is anonymous.
You are anonymous, and we absolutely appreciate you being honest and open, because that's what we're hoping to do. We want people to talk about things that they want, things that are hard to talk about, things that are scary to talk about, and to know like you have a safe place to talk about it. And we're hopefully, I know we got some chuckles, and hopefully that wasn't hurtful, but we want you to feel like you can talk about anything, and this is a place to like
be graphic.
Be graphic.
Oh, yeah. I try new things. I have to give myself credit.
That is, I give you credit for that. Yeah, definitely trying new things is always good. And then, like we've talked about on this episode, of saying, nope, that's not my thing.
Yeah.
That's not my yum.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing, though. What's my thing? Watching Bridgerton. That's my thing.
It sounds like it's your wife's thing, too.
Yeah, maybe you and your wife could have some fun with Bridgerton. I think you need some role playing with those characters.
Absolutely.
I think, talk to her about that.
Yeah, that's a pretty good idea.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Miss Natasha.
You're welcome.
Wonderful advice, and your parents did a wonderful job with you.
Aw, that's sweet.
Thank you so much for calling in.
Thanks for calling, Mike.
Anonymous caller.
Yeah, mix it up, Mike. That's his anonymous name. Very clever.
Thank you so much.
Can I give her your number? It's really scary for me.
We're not doing any numbers today, Mike.
Listen to the full episode.
Okay, all right. You have a wonderful night now, ladies.
Alright, you too. Bye.
Alright.
That was great advice.
Yeah, thanks
I
for
like that a lot.
answering his question. And at this point, we are so thankful for everything you shared with us.
Yeah, anytime.
But we'd love to know, like, how do you want to be contacted? And if it sounds like we're not right now, not about unicorn stuff, but about comedy or anything else.
Oh, what was that again?
Your social media,
Oh,
anywhere to
social-
find you,
yeah.
like find you on your website, anywhere that you could be found.
Yeah, I can be found on Instagram,
Okay.
Natasha Tina Liu. I'm not actively seeking unicorn situations, not because, like I mentioned before, I was like traumatized by someone, but it wasn't because of the unicorn lifestyle. It's just more so like the relationship was toxic.
Like
Yeah.
any relationship that
Yeah.
ends, you're gonna need a debrief. You need that space. So
I'm just
that
kind of like
makes sense.
rebuilding my life right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And just like any relationship, there's good ones and bad ones.
Yeah.
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 So we can find you on Instagram, Facebook at Natasha Tina Liu. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Wonderful.
And right
you
now,
so much.
not for unicorn stuff.
Oh, yes. Yes. Non-unicorn stuff.
And there's one last thing I want to mention because it was a mistake I made.
Oh.
So I don't want people making the same mistake
Okay.
I made. if one person in the couple asks to play with you solo, definitely check in with the other person.
Oh, that's great advice.
Beforehand. I made the same mistake twice, like both disastrous
really?
mistakes. Yeah, like in the first situation, the wife got really, really upset, and they're divorced now.
Okay.
And in the second situation, she was really mad at me for not consulting her beforehand and felt very betrayed.
Okay. Yeah, especially like, as I'm thinking, a lot of our listeners might be interested in both sides of it, how to get someone in your relationship, and then how, if you're interested in this, how to do that. And I think those little tips like that were how to not fall into some of the pitfalls, unfortunately, that you've experienced.
Yeah, he might say it's okay and say that she agreed to it, but you got to hear it from her too.
Yeah, because you are in, you're not in a relationship, but you are kind of an extension of the relationship, so it makes sense to have that communication with her as well. And I would assume I would be like, he said it's fine, it's fine. Let's go.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
He would never lie.
Yeah.
Well, that's excellent information.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Now we know more about being unicorn.
Yeah.
And that it's a human.
Yeah.
And anyone can do it. But you have to be an excellent communicator.
Excellent. I mean, let's face it, everybody in a relationship, whether it's just sexual or romantic or anything or friendship, be a good communicator.
I know. Good luck with that, because that's not easy for anyone.
No.
And don't be a dick and use protection.
Yes.
Yes, and switch if you're switching partners. I like that.
Protection. Switch protection.
Switch protection, switch partners. Thank you so much for listening. It was great having you.
Yes, thanks for joining the Adult Buddy Finders. I thought, fun to learn more about unicorns.
It was really fun. I learned so much. I'm so excited to have this knowledge.
And of course, like every episode, we're like, there's probably more. There's more that we need to know.
There's so much more. I'm so intrigued.
But if you heard anything on this episode that you want to know more about, we're going to keep information in our show notes and on our website, adultbuddyfinders.com. That's where you can see Natasha's social media again, in case you didn't write it down. You can copy and paste it easily.
Nice and easy. And stay tuned for our next show.
Tease them.
Because
Give them a tease.
I'm going to give you a little tease for the next episode.
It's called a teaser.
And it is so teasing.
Yes.
And pleasant. Our next episode is with a very sultry, very incredible woman who does dominatrix work.
Yes.
I'm sorry, did dominatrix. I should be
right.
correct.
She's a current audio book recorder for erotic books.
So,
but we didn't talk about that even, really.
No, we didn't even get into that, which I think that's pretty exciting. Go check out those erotic books.
Well, after you listen to the show.
Yes. Do it. Do it now. That's a dominatrix, right?
Yes.
Go listen now, you filthy little listener, you dirty-eared listener. God, I'm good.
She's a good dominatrix. That's what she thinks she's going to be. And Natasha, thank you again for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you.
Share this episode with someone you find magical.
Oh, all right. That's good advice for a magical unicorn. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.